What if the future of the global economy didn't revolve around the dollar? What if cryptocurrencies took center stage instead? This is not a hypothetical question. The current international economic system, which has been largely dominated by the US dollar, is beginning to face challenges. As we navigate the turbulent waters of the 21st century, we see the emergence of new players on the global stage, each carrying the potential to disrupt the status quo. Take a look at the developing countries, especially China and India. Their economies are growing at an impressive pace, steadily increasing their influence on the global stage. The implications are profound. As these nations rise, they carry the potential to reshape the economic landscape, challenging the traditional dominance of the US dollar. Enter the BRICS countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These nations are not just growing, they are actively seeking alternatives to the dollar-dominated system. They are exploring new avenues, pushing boundaries, and in the process, they are reshaping the global economic order. Their collective efforts could potentially shift the balance of economic power, ushering in a new era. Cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, are emerging as potential alternatives. With their decentralized nature and global acceptance, they have the potential to challenge the dollar's dominance. This shift is not just theoretical, it is happening in real time, right before our eyes. The popularity of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin in countries like India, coupled with its increasing acceptance in the United States, could contribute to its adoption as an internationally accepted default currency. We are standing on the precipice of a new era in the international economy, one where the dollar may no longer be the king, and cryptocurrencies could potentially take center stage. As we step into this new era, it's clear that the tides are shifting, and the dollar's reign may be facing its twilight. Scene script. Enter the BRICS, a group of nations that are challenging the status quo. Unfolding like a game of high-stakes poker on the world stage, we find the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, each throwing in their chips to shift the balance of global power. Born out of an acronym coined by the economist Jim O'Neill back in 2001, BRICS represents a collective of emerging economies that have grown rapidly over the past 2 decades. Their shared goal? To challenge the G7 nations and the dominance of the US dollar in international trade. This is not merely a game of diplomatic chess, but a seismic shift in the tectonic plates of global economics. Take India, for instance. It's not just flirting with the idea of currency diversification, it's already on a date with it. Indian refiners are sidestepping the US dollar and cozying up to the UAE's dirham for the purchase of Russian crude oil. This move is more than just a trade preference, it's a bold statement, a declaration of economic independence from the dollar's dominance. And India is not alone in this dance. Each of the BRICS nations is maneuvering, each in their own way, to leverage their growing economic might and redefine the rules of the game. From Brazil's resource-rich economy to Russia's energy dominance, from India's technological prowess to China's sheer economic size and South Africa's strategic location, each of these countries brings a unique strength to the table. The BRICS nations aren't just playing the game, they're changing it. They're making moves, shaking up the established order, and in doing so, they're redefining the future of global economics. With these bold moves, the BRICS nations are carving out a new path in international trade. But it's not just about new alliances and different fiat currencies. There's a new player on the field: cryptocurrencies. In the grand game of global finance, cryptocurrencies are emerging as a compelling contender. Particularly Bitcoin, with its decentralized nature, is stepping up as a potential alternative to traditional currencies. No longer the domain of tech enthusiasts and risk-takers, Bitcoin is now finding its place in the mainstream, with growing global acceptance. The beauty of cryptocurrencies lies in their decentralization. Unlike traditional currencies, which are controlled by central banks and governments, cryptocurrencies operate on a decentralized network of computers. This means they're not subject to the whims and policies of any single entity. They're global, borderless, and free from the control of any one nation or institution. Cryptocurrencies are also increasingly being used for investment, savings, and business transactions. They have become a new asset class, a digital gold, if you will. Investors, both big and small, are pouring money into cryptocurrencies, betting on their future potential. Businesses, too, are beginning to accept cryptocurrencies as a form of payment, recognizing their growing popularity and ease of use. But perhaps the most exciting prospect is the potential for cryptocurrencies to play a role in the economies of nations. Imagine a world where Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency is declared as legal tender by a major world economy. This would mark the beginning of a new era, a shift in the very foundations of our international economic system. As cryptocurrencies continue to gain traction, they pose a fascinating alternative to the traditional economic system. With their potential to disrupt the status quo and offer a new way of conducting financial transactions, it's safe to say that the world of finance may never be the same again. In the end, it's not about replacing the old with the new. It's about creating a more inclusive and equitable financial system where everyone has a fair shot. It's about breaking down barriers and opening up new possibilities. As cryptocurrencies continue to gain traction, they pose a fascinating alternative to the traditional economic system. Now, we stand at an interesting crossroads where BRICS, the dollar, and cryptocurrencies intersect. As we've seen, the economies of developing countries are growing in influence, and they're seeking alternatives to the dollar-dominated system. Cryptocurrencies are emerging as potential contenders, their decentralized nature and global acceptance making them attractive options. Consider for a moment a major world economy declaring Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency as legal tender. This could mark the beginning of a new era, shaking the foundations of the international economy as we know it. The implications of such developments on the global economy are vast. They could potentially reshape trade, investment, and savings on a global scale. It could mean a shift in power dynamics and a redefinition of economic norms and standards. But it's important to remember that these are just possibilities. The road to such a future is fraught with challenges, uncertainties, and undoubtedly surprises. The world is watching, waiting, and preparing for whatever lies ahead. The future is uncertain and full of possibilities. One thing is clear though, change is coming and it's coming fast.